a few critical items that users have mentioned to us that are so important to them in relation to their efficiency and the effectiveness on the CRM. So something that we've been told, it'd be nice if we had a big search field right front and center at the very top that would search any name in the program. So even secondary and additional contacts, it'll come up with the record. So for instance, if you have a lead in YGL that you have maybe 3 additional contacts added to the lead as well, then this will find the name, and it'll do that in lead search and in this filter here from your dashboard as well. So if I start to type a name, it's going to find all of the Bobs that I have saved in my community. And if I type even a last name, you can see that there. I put it in multiple times, and that's just so you could see it on the screen on the demo, but that's actually additional. Those are additional contacts to this primary contact. So it'll find additional and secondary contacts as well. Now the upcoming appointments, this is another new feature in the redesign on the dashboard. And I feel that this is important because these are the tasks and activities that you've scheduled at a specific start time and duration. And so these are tasks that you don't want to ever drop the ball on, right? And you really can't, because I promised to be somewhere at a certain time and for a duration of time, like a tour or a potential move-in or another sales call type appointment. And it'll always have today, tomorrow, and Thursday right on your dashboard. Plus, you certainly can view all of the details related to the task and activity. So if I expand these, now I can see the phone and email. And also I have the ability to now click the edit button. This is something that we've just added. So you can edit the task here if you need to without going even into the activities details page. So if I need to change the time or change the duration, change the priority, even the details of the task. I have the ability to delete the task as well. It will ask you, are you sure you want to do that? And so you can see it's faster, easier, it's more seamless to update appointments upon logging in. It's right there front and center for you on the dashboard. Now, as we scroll down, you'll see that there is a simple sales pipeline feature. So as a user, you might want to filter by all leads that are in your pre-tour or post-tour sales phases. And that's what that's all about. You can click there on these links, which will take you right to the lead search page. And we'll do that in just a minute. But I wanted to show you a quick preview of these other items on the page. And one is task snapshot. So that's all of the tasks you have to do. And these are ones that are not scheduled necessarily as appointments. They're simply tasks that you have scheduled, and they're coming up like a call or an email or mail or other similar simple task. And here on the task snapshot right from the dashboard, you have the ability to complete these tasks simply by clicking the radio button there, and it'll remove that task from your list. So if you know you've done that task, you can just simply click that button and quickly update these to-do tasks. I can show more than 5 here. I could view all. I can export these grids to Excel. And as I move down the page, I can see all my latest leads here. So this is great. This is all about productivity and helping users be more efficient with this program. Faster, cleaner, the relevant items right on your dashboard. So even on the first page of logging in, a marketer at a community should be able to quickly get caught up with appointments, the tasks they have, and then review all of their latest leads. So these are leads that are coming into the program all the time, whether you've entered them yourself or whether they're being auto-populated from, for instance, a place for mom, or another referral source network, maybe your own website. You auto enter leads from your own website inquiry forms. All of those leads will be coming in and showing up here on your latest leads table. And it'll include, in reverse chronological order, the most recent lead to be added to the program right at the very top automatically. So you'll always have that there at your fingertips, ready to follow up with that family, hopefully reach them, schedule the tour, get that on your appointments, right? Schedule those follow-up tasks, and then hopefully secure the move-in eventually. These are all hyperlinks to the leads record, so the lead details and also their activity. That will function the same as it does now. Anytime you see this blue text and have a contact name, and you can see that the pointer changes to the little hand pointer, that tells you that's a link to the leads master record, and the sales phase would get you right to the activity there. Now, anytime you see these little dots up the upper right-hand corner, that means you have the ability to change the order of your column headers. Okay, so that's what the arrows are here for, the up and down arrows. If I wanted to move the source, I could do that and put the source first. And so you can see how you can move these fields around. So that's nice, a little bit of control from a user standpoint. And then as I scroll on down the page, I can see the last item here is a projected occupancy feature. And a lot of times users will tell us, look, I like the inventory and occupancy module within the program, but is there any way you could offer some insight and maybe an item or feature on the dashboard that would give me some occupancy metrics, perhaps the vacants unit, the percent occupied right now, and maybe even forward looking. So this is something that is definitely in beta stage and phases right now. But we're working on this and will be available in the new design. And I believe that users will welcome that, because if you're using the inventory module within You've Got Leads, even right from logging in your dashboard, it'd be great to see what your current occupancy is and then what your projected occupancy will be, maybe out 30 or 60 or 90 days based upon the scheduled moves. So if you have scheduled move-ins, move-outs, even transfers, and so on, then it will update those numbers automatically. So this is your brand new dashboard that will be in the redesign with a nice lead search field. And certainly you can still search by phone number or email address. And it'll find the phone number related to any record in the system. So that's great. I think that might have been a question by one of you, and thank you. That's a good question. So that's great. The ability to find things, right? I mean, in a CRM, you should be able to quickly find records that you have in the program. The updated appointments, sales pipeline, just even easier than it is today. It's right there. All your tasks, your latest leads, and projected occupancy. So within a customer relations management program, especially for a specific program to senior living, there are hardly more important items for a sales and marketer, a community liaison, than the ones we've looked at even thus far that are available to you on the dashboard. Plus, some of the reason, and actually it's a big reason, it's not just a little part, it's a big part of the reason we've laid out the items this way, is so it will be optimized for mobile. So we're building that mobile app to launch right along with the new design. I know that's something that is in the forefront of pretty much all of our users' minds, and we've had many requests about it, inquiries. And so we're looking at the first quarter of 2018 to deliver a mobile app for you. Now, I know that you can log into You've Got Leads today on mobile applications and handheld devices, but it's not a specific mobile app, so that'll be great when that's available. And so you can imagine when you're on this page, this will render very nicely, and it'll just be nice and stacked up. If you're using an iPhone, even if it's an iPhone, the smaller one, the 7 or the 8, it'll still look really good and give you the relevant information right there. So you can update appointments. If you're waiting for somebody maybe to meet with, or you have some time, just pop on to the YGL application on your phone, update appointments. I think it'll just be a great tool for our users. Okay, so I think we've spent enough time for now on this dashboard. I know we have limited time and the minutes fly by here. So what I want to do is go to the next section, and that is the lead search page. And I mentioned I'll click on the sales pipeline, and we can see that will filter by all of the leads in the post-tour sales phase, because that's the sales phase I chose within the pipeline, the post-tour leads. And here's your new lead search. If you have access to more than one property, there are all the location names. I mean, this is relatively the same as it is now, so we all can feel comfortable looking at the nav bar and the main navigation headers. So we've maintained that familiarity there. And you can see that there's still a table with all of your leads listed, some familiar column headers there. But this is what is the biggest change, I think, with leads, tasks, and sources, and that's the filter form at the top. The way You've Got Leads works now, as you're familiar with, is you have different filters in a form that basically sit on top of the table that gives you the results. And that's okay, and I think it's intuitive, and it's been used by users, and they've learned and been able to use it pretty easily. But where it falls short is, let's say you want to add new filters, right? So how do you do that? Do you still keep filling up the upper half or upper section of the page? Well, that becomes tedious, and it honestly makes things a bit messy if you add too many things. But you want to be able to give users options, right? So that's a lot of the reasoning behind the filters functioning this way. Clear all easily right there. And I also have the ability to apply a saved filter set. So I've applied a saved filter set, all open leads. So I just click all open leads, and now I've applied that filter set. It did away with my sales phase post tour, and now I can see all of the open leads that I have in the property. You can still look at all properties you have access to here. But I love the filters here and the options that it gives us. So it opens a lot of doors with being able to filter in different ways. I can still go to my sales phase. I can instantly see how many leads are in each sales phase, right? So if I said, oh, there's the 155 post tour, I'm going to go back and I'm going to click there. I can do that. So it's showing the check mark by open because I've applied that saved filter set. So if you have, excuse me, if you have filters that you use all of the time, and they're what you defer to when you're following up with your families and your leads, then what I would suggest when you're using this program is to save those as a filter set. So maybe I want to save a filter set, all open leads, and the lead status, all hot leads, right? So I'm going to save that. Filter saved. Okay, great. And then I can apply that filter set later, right? So I'm going to go ahead and collapse that. So I have move-in status open and lead status a lead. Now I can work through these a leads. I can sort by the column header here. and I have a nice search field. It's a nice big search field where I can just immediately start typing in the name. And we've found that for the most part, the name is definitely the most common used filter field, especially in the leads tab. And if I search for, I can search for secondary contacts, I can search for additional contacts, which I know is welcomed, and it'll have the secondary contact right on this grid here, right in this leads table. If I click my little dots up at the right-hand corner, I can move my secondary contact even right over beside my primary and the resident, and click OK here. So now I've got primary contact, here's my resident name, and then here's my secondary contact as well. So this search field will search all names, even the ones that are beyond the secondary. Excuse me, if you had 2 or 3 additional contacts associated with the family, it'll search that as well. You still have the source and the subsource and the source detail. I can export to Excel up at the right-hand corner. And so hopefully this is insightful for you, just regarding the specifically filtering to leads, and some of the reasoning behind what we're doing here on the leads search section and page of the program. And I think it is a change to the way it works now. But as users become more familiar with the filtering and the functionality on the left-hand side, I do believe they will embrace it. And some focus groups and some folks that we've had use it already, they really like it in comparison to the current version. And I guess, you know, ultimately we all want more and you know, just additional ability to manage and monitor the critical information and data that goes into this program. I think this is one specific example of doing just that. So if you click on the name, we'll talk just a little bit about the leads details and the activity. Just want to show you around these new pages. So the lead detail, it's very similar to the way it works now. We'll have the same options for adding sources and creating a source from scratch, even from the leads page. But if I said I want to just quickly find a source within this program. So I type in the name Bob, it's going to bring back all the names of sources, right? And the company they're related to and their title. So as you know, today you click on the plus sign, you can go find them in the subcategories and the professional lists and so on. But here I think that's easier to do, especially with sources that are already in the program. So you have data in the system now, I'm sure most of you do as users of YGL. And so within the lead sources field, it makes sense to give you the ability to simply start typing the name and get the list, right, that name could be associated with, and then you can easily click on that and add the source to the lead, right? Now it will default to having the fields open so you don't have to expand them all, but it will give you that option to expand and collapse your inquiry details. And then as I scroll down, we can see the resident details here. But nice, big, easy to read. I think this program is much cleaner, and it will be even faster. And you'll see that as you work in and throughout this new program. And that's one main point. I mean, the reliability, the stability of the system is critical. And I did have a couple of other questions here. Can you search by email? So Christina asked if you can search by email. Yes, email. And then can you search by phone number? Yes, in those search fields. I believe you're asking me about, the search fields. for leads and even on the dashboard. So yes, you are able to search by phone number and email. And then I have another question here regarding sources. Can we add new sources, and are we going to be adding new categories? Yes, in fact, we have started to update the sources capabilities, so you can add something like a word of mouth or even other type of category within the program. So that's a great question, and yes, we will be giving that ability to users based upon your organization's preferences and the sources. So. And I'm getting some questions. This is great. Thank you so much for the feedback and the questions, and they're all great. I might as well answer them as we move along here. And this is relevant to the additional contacts. Okay, so the question was, can we add multiple additional contacts? And yes, you can. You can add as many additional contacts as you need to. So within the system, it will be primary contacts. So that's normally the adult child or the closest person to the resident. So you have primary, then the resident contacts like normal. The very first additional contact beyond the primary to the resident is called the secondary contact. And then anything beyond that is just an additional contact. For instance, a friend or something like that. So Ken Griffey is another additional contact. You can add as many as you need to. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the activities page. And you'll see that you can toggle quickly back and forth between the lead profile and the activity. And that's something that has been, discussed, thought about, asked about from users is, can you make it maybe easier for us to toggle back and forth between the details of the lead and the activity itself? And so that's why every lead record has lead details and activity right here. And you can see how fast you can toggle back and forth between those two pages. And I can add a task here, include my details. If I need to add a new note, so that gives you a little bit of an idea, or starts to, about the workflow and the user interface and how you would add a task record. So a couple of other questions here. When completing a task on the dashboard, is there a way to put in notes before it disappears? And thank you, Jennifer. That is a good question. Yeah, so since this is in the beta stage, we will add the ability to track the details when you complete a task from the dashboard. So just like if I go ahead and choose that here, I know that I can update it with my little edit field, and I can add notes, but I'm going to uncheck that. On your dashboard, I know it would allow you to click the radio button. And so I think it would be appropriate, and this is what they're working on, to add the window. If you want to see that, then you can update the details and include any tasks related to, or I'm sorry, included any notes related to the task itself right on the dashboard. So anyway, that's a long-winded answer, but yes, good question, and we have the plans to do that, and we're working on that. So task search, set up just like lead search. Filters over here, you can apply your safe filtered set. Maybe I want to apply all tasks that have not been completed, task type tour. So now I'm looking at these saved filtered sets right here. And same thing here, we'll provide the ability to the user to complete the task right from the task table and edit the task. And that's a good question too, Carol. The notes will be available in the notes section in their entirety, so you will be able to read all of the notes at once. And I believe there was another question here. Let me go through the list regarding e-blasts or mailings. And yes, it'll have the same ability to do that in the new program. So given its beta stage and current state, all of the current items, features, functionality are not in this beta site yet, but they will be. So if you're wondering about a certain piece of functionality or item in the current version and if it will make its way into the new version, yes, it will. So we're not going to take anything away from the user base. We'll get it in here and we'll include that, but it'll just make it even more intuitive, faster to use, and then of course updated and some things that are new. But we won't take anything away from you. So good question. But I know we've reached the end of the half hour here, and I'll just share some of the other pages really fast. If you want to stick on the phone, that's fine. If you have to run, of course, that's fine too. Working on the calendar as we speak and making it more intuitive even than it is today. I think one of the most important features and one that's been requested maybe the most of all is the ability to drag the calendar item to maybe another day or reschedule right from here. And so we're going to add that. So if I eventually wanted to drag this tour over to the next day, I could do that and just click on it and drag it over. So that'll be nice. As far as finding a task and clicking on it, it works just like it would today. You just click on the task itself and then it takes you to the activities grid. And I had another question regarding the logout. And I'll take just 1 minute to explain the logout. If you are logged out today, definitely let us know if it's doing that faster than 45 minutes, I believe, or maybe it's an hour. We've set that timeout or the session timeout as long as we can to remain HIPAA compliant. So You've Got Leads is a HIPAA compliant program. In other words, you are able to enter PHI information, patient health information into You've Got Leads because it has that security surrounding the data. And that's the whole reasoning behind that. It's not for us to stop users from being able to stay in the program. It's just simply required. I mean, you always want to be diligent about saving your work, even if you're called away from your desk. If you can click save, that's ideal, and that's definitely critical and needed. But I'll just add that if you are experiencing or do ever experience a timeout of your session too quickly or inside of 45 minutes, then definitely let us know. So let me look at the other questions here. That's a good question. I'm not sure how far you would be able to drag a lead on the calendar. It would most likely be if you're on the month, then you could drag it to another day. As long as you can see the next day, then you could drag it to that day. And if you didn't specifically change the time, then it would just automatically be saved as a task on that different day at the same time. Yes, you'll be able to edit notes once they are saved, and you have that ability now. If you can't perform an edit to a note now or even delete a note, That's simply because your organization's preferences don't have that feature activated. And if you feel you need that feature, then just reach out to support. It is an admin setting, so it would have to be one of your admin users that okays or approves the ability for the community marketers or users of the You've Got Leads program to be able to edit or delete notes. But that functionality will be there, and it's available today in the current version. Okay, so I'm getting some other questions. I might as well just answer some questions as we wrap up here. But adding, let's see, adding source and marketing appointments to the calendar and source type tasks to the calendar, absolutely, and filter accordingly. That's a good question too. What is notifications? Well, that will be, this will be, we're thinking about it. So it's a good question. If you get a new lead and haven't addressed that lead yet, so that'll be there. It'll just count up for you, and it'll be a hyperlink. So a lot of our partners now auto-populate leads from their own website. A lot of them will use other referral source type networks to import leads and auto-enter them. If you're a partner with a Place for Mom, then you get leads from a Place for Mom auto-entered into YGL. So that would be a spot that you could go see those leads that have been auto-entered. So if there were 2 or 3 leads that you just simply hadn't addressed yet, that number would be there. You click on it and can go work those leads. So. In this new platform, we will be able to add reports even easier than we can do now. I think that the updated technology, the structure, and just in general, the upgrades to the program and the more material design, again, will give us more options to add new things, but relevant and important items. We certainly don't want to just haphazardly add, hundreds of features and weigh the program down and have it become clunky or anything like that. But we understand that as you move forward, there are relevant and critical items that many users want to see. And it starts with the stability, the reliability, the power, the speed behind your CRM, which is all related to the technology that it's sitting upon, right? But I hope this little sneak peek has been informative for you and a good use of your time. I did simply today want to give you some insight into the new redesign, and then as we move forward and as we make strides with the completion and the readiness of this platform, we will let all of you know. And certainly we will be in communication with the entire user base with when they can log into the new design. Okay. And that will be welcomed. That'll be an exciting day when you can log in and see all of your data right here. And what we plan to do is allow you to, whoever wants to, be part of the initial soft launch or the initial launch. Will support both programs in tandem. So with the same username and password, you'd be able to log into the new site, familiarize yourself with it, see how it works, get more comfortable. And then, as the weeks and the months go by, we'll just update you with when we'll be officially moving everybody over. But like I said before, there's no data transition or anything you have to do there. It's just simply logging in when it's ready. All right. And again, and thanks for all of the questions and the engagement and the feedback, everyone. We really appreciate that. Again, my name is Barry Mayer, and for everybody that's on this call, I can send you a follow-up note so you'll have my contact information. And if you have any other questions that come to mind, I'd be, probably thinking of lots of questions, but then certainly reach out to me. And I greatly appreciate everybody's time this afternoon if you're on the East Coast now, and if you're over on the West Coast, Then have a great rest of your morning and day, and look for my email, and we will talk to you all very soon. Thank you.